the angle's okay. I'm just. Do you want to tweet it? We can get it out
Yeah,
there.
I'll tweet it. I'll tweet it.
Yeah.
Just
Let me
tweeting
just
it
also go onto
now.
Twitter, and even I'll just share it again. So at least, otherwise,
Yeah, I will tweet this. I'll 1 second. Okay, I've tweeted this.
great.
You'll see it in a minute. Actually,
Okay.
last time when I was doing the stream, it's you remember earlier also when we used to try. Hey, your
Yeah,
video went away, Gaurav.
it's
You're just
gone away
dark.
now. Now
Yeah,
is it
now it's
okay?
back. Now it's back. Now
It's
it's back.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it was something to do with Twitter that
Yeah, I
I'd
mean the
opened the.
Twitter team is always jittery for some
I
reason.
know.
Uh,
Okay, I'm just. Okay, good. You've got it connected with YouTube as well, and
yeah, I mean
yeah,
it's only on YouTube. I'm not putting it on
yeah,
Twitter.
yeah. That's fine. That's good. Okay, so you just got back from dinner, is it?
Yeah, I just got back. Yeah.
So what after the match got over, you guys just
Almost
took
when
off,
when it
is it?
was almost when Rohit Sharma got out, I thought I'll check his 100 if he gets it. Would have been nice, but
Uh,
yeah, I mean he did more than enough. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was making weird noises while I was watching some of his shots, right? I mean,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
worried
Today
my
it
my
happened to
neighbors would
me.
be thinking कि क्या कर रहा है आज ये लड़का कुछ तो
It
हो रहा
happened to
है
me. It happened to me too. Uh, and when we were at, we'd gone to the Kotla with some friends for the Afghanistan game, and when Rohit got out there, and none of us had conveyance that day, we said, "Chalo, niklo, auto mil gaya, jo bhi mil jaye, niklo bus." You realize the game has pretty much finished there, right? And you want to get out.
yeah.
So, I wanted to ask you when you told me you got back. So, where do you guys go to eat? Yeah.
Uh, so I live in an area called Sarjapur Road in Bangalore.
Mm.
So which is basically a sequence of bars. So yeah, I mean I go to the first place that I can land. So there is a big social where I typically go.
Oh, nice.
Bunch of other places.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean I'm honestly not a fan of those places. I'm
Social?
not endorsing any of them. No, I mean I
Yeah.
would I'd rather go to a place with less noise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean proximity also matters. So yeah,
Social, you get atmosphere, but you don't know khaoge kya at times. It's like you could get lucky, or you could. I think it's fried food. Yeah, I know the one close to my place in Hoskas village. They have khichdi on the menu, which seems to be a huge draw. For Firangi आते हैं ना उनको लगता है कि यार there is something called khichdi, and or anyone from out of town, I think they get pulled by the fact that these people have something which is totally off the beaten track. But yeah, I think it's a
I
place
know, I
meant
know,
for bachchas. I think
I
that's
know, वही exactly वो हम
शशि
एक
शशि और
नेहरू
शशि
प्लेस
और
में था एक्चुअली
शशि और महक जा सकते हैं वहां.
शशि पिता नहीं है
No, but he can go
शशि
now because
हाँ
he
he
has
can
the
go he can
he
go
has the demeanor of someone who बहुत पीता है. I mean,
वो पिए बिना पी हुई बातें करता है
uh, uh,
एक्चुअली शशि I don't know मतलब when I had met Shashi on Twitter, right? I don't know, almost अब decade हो गया होगा एक्चुअली ठीक है तो मेरे
yeah.
दिमाग में अभी भी वो बच्चा है
Mm,
पर उसकी शादी हो गई है ठीक है मतलब उसका हमारे दिमाग में वो बच्चा रहता है बट वो उतना बच्चा है नहीं
yeah. No, now I
तो
was just thinking about when during the pandemic we were doing some of these YouTube lives and things like that, and
Yeah.
शशि घर गया था. He'd
हाँ
gone
हाँ
home,
हाँ.
and आवाज होती थी, ये होती थी. तो वो he would take a while कि अभी यहाँ पता नहीं क्या क्या हो रहा था. Very
I know,
he
I
had
know.
gone home. So should we, मैं जब, in fact, knowing how long we usually sit when we get onto one of these night YouTube ones. So what I did was मैं बियर की बोतल भी लाके मैंने कहा कमरे में ही भी रख दे लेता हूँ. And I got an opener with it. अब ये ओपनर बहुत सॉलिड है यार. तो मुझे इसको देख के मुझे लगा कि यार this has got teeth in it. Okay.
I know, I know.
Yeah. और ये a friend from Colombia got it. तो
Mm-hmm.
जब मैंने when I looked at this, I thought of a few things. I mean, which is very bloody cliched and hackneyed, but it's coming to that the Indian bowling had teeth today. And if you look at it, since it is from Colombia, everyone who batted in from the Pakistani side after the third wicket was stoned. They were, since and just to put things. Say if we were to talk about say India's bowling first, and like I think the pre-match show we did where I guess we all were thinking, at least I said कि 330 तो मार देंगे. I mean, that is what
Yeah,
and that is at times where you almost give each team the benefit of doubt that yes, and possibly doubt India as such, that whatever they have is going to just not be good
yeah.
enough. And what I
बड़े
did
गेम
see,
में we get our skepticism अपने आप आ जाता है. बड़ा गेम होता है, build-up होता है, तो as fans we are skeptics.
yeah, and see if we were to go at the point where Babar got out, right? Other than that that 150 runs where Pakistan was comfy, they were pretty much set to take off, right? I mean, without even taking off. I think what we did speak in the pre-match was 200, 10. I mean, I think earlier what was spoken, if they're 30 for no loss, they are sorted, which they were. In fact, I think when I looked at the scorecard and I said 38 for no loss, you could see that at least that early wicket didn't happen. Siraj's lengths were totally fucked. I mean, they weren't happening. And if they, in fact, had gone at him, which they didn't, they waited for
Yeah,
him to make mistakes. But had they gone at Siraj, they could have forced India's hand even more. Even while
yeah,
Siraj was bowling badly, I think Pakistan sat back. That entire, when we speak about, say, our skepticism, possibly Pakistan and their top order has a lot of that skepticism, and they're extremely conservative, even when, say, the Indian bowling was a little off. I mean, the lengths were pulled back. Bumrah was not. He looked good, but he didn't look as if he was going to take a wicket there because he pulled it. He was as if he was overcompensating for what Siraj was doing. कि यार वो तो जा ही रहा है, मैं यार मुझे नहीं, I don't want to pitch it full. I think it was understood. We don't want them
yeah.
to get away. They're okay with 50 for no loss, but they didn't want to be in a place where there was 70 for no loss. Are you going to stay
Sorry.
quiet, or
No, 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 no.
I just
No, no.
thought I'd
I
leave it
actually
to
just
you.
lost you for a second.
Okay, yeah. So the last thing what I said was that in India at that point, and I'd say Rohit also and Bumrah, they understood that they didn't want to be 10 overs 70 Pakistan.
I know.
They'd
Yeah.
rather be about 50. So the lengths were pulled back. Everything became far more conservative, and they figured out that
Yeah.
this wicket maybe it's not swinging, maybe it wasn't moving, that the ball wasn't doing anything as such, and to, I guess, sort out whatever wrongs that Siraj had put forth then.
Yeah. I mean, you talked about the Indian fast bowling or Indian bowling in general, showing their teeth, right? I mean, I think even more. I mean, for me, the part that was more remarkable was them showing their smarts as well, and Rohit on the field also doing that, right? मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले I just tweeted, right, कि India 2023 में cricket खेल रहा है, Pakistan is still playing cricket in 1992.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, I saw that tweet. Yeah, and that
it's
in fact is a good talking point. Yeah,
yeah, it's that kind of matchup ki Rohit knows the kind of cricket Pakistan is going to play. He knew he can hold Bumrah back. शुरू
yeah.
में 4 ओवर दे दिए. Like there was pretty much they were happy to hang back. In fact, ये एक ऐसा मैच था जिसमें all of my predictions were coming true when Babar and Rizwan were playing. I said कि okay, थोड़ी देर तक even if they are playing, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because it was apparent that this is a 300 par pitch, okay, and
Yeah,
they would be
yeah.
putting pressure on themselves. Pakistan is like the kind of team where everything has to come together for them in at
Sure.
least in terms of their batting. If everything comes
Yeah.
together, platform lay karenge, then next their 5 or 6 will come out and play a few shots, connect a few shots basically. If one part of their plan fails, then their batting fails basically, which happened today. And if you were putting odds on how many times this would happen, it won't happen in a pressure game more than say 30% of the time or 20% of the time, and that's what continues to happen. And I if these two team play again, I wouldn't discount the same happening again, right? Because they just don't have ideas. एक bowler को target करते, they should have done something basically, right? It was very clear you are batting first on a good batting pitch. Find a bowler to target, find a boundary to target. You got off a good start. You're just after that letting the bowler settle. I mean, in fact, पहले over के बाद actually both batsmen were looking very settled.
Yeah. Yeah.
मेरे को लग गया था कि 350 chase करना है, even though I was confident
Sure.
कि 350 भी chase कर ले. But then
Yeah.
they did not try anything. They were kind of just happy to play, as you said, conservative cricket, and that doesn't cut it in 2023 basically.
So the whole thing is one which has been spoken often enough is ki the caliber of Bumrah, which they are almost as if overcompensating that yes, he's Bumrah. They're not realizing that this is Bumrah on a comeback.
Yeah.
What if they were to take Bumrah on? What will that do? Now, Bumrah, yes, he does have the smarts. He has been taken on. He often does not take wickets in his opening spell. I think that has happened for quite some time. Siraj is bowling poorly. You're giving Bumrah respect as well. So that allows them to go to 30 for no loss, which we spoke about. Ki 30 for no loss is what Pakistan will be targeting to feel comfortable that we haven't messed up in the beginning. Wahan pahunch gaye. They went even further. There were bowling changes that happened also, right? And then Siraj had to come back and then take the first wicket, right? I think that's how it panned out. It seems like a long time back कि पता नहीं ये match कब खत्म हुआ, but that is what happened. With Siraj coming back, getting a wicket, and they allowed maybe Rohit to play out whatever his entire initial 15 overs plan was without really shaking it, right? Hardik didn't start out too well himself, and Hardik can be targeted, which is what they did. But the thing is, Hardik, the more we see of him, he looks as if he gives he'll bowl one really shitty ball, which is almost like कि तुम इसको मारो मैं एक और बॉल ऐसे मारूंगा कि तुम उसको भी मारोगे लेकिन मैं तुमको बात करूंगा और तुम आउट हो जाओगे. Now this again seems almost like similar to what is happening with Shardul Thakur, who bowls a lot of boundary balls. Hardik seems to also alternate between at times just pitching it up, and you can really go. I mean, they went at Hardik often enough, which that Hardik and Shardul are the weak links. Hardik does seem brighter. I mean, that you will have to give, right, when you are doing that comparison. And but the whole thing is that they allowed by not targeting anyone in specific. I mean, even Siraj was, I don't think he was targeted. It was just that when he bowled a bad ball, they hit him.
Yeah. Nobody was targeted. Full ball tha,
Yeah.
they drove basically. I think only once I saw Bumrah being charged within the first 15 hours. एक ball आगे बढ़ के थोड़ा मारा था. That was the only
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
Again, one of the
Yeah.
things that I like to do, right? क्योंकि हमने India का we have been analyzing what is India's best game plan, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
what I try to do sometimes is ki what could Pakistan have done
Yes.
different, right?
Yes.
So
That's interesting. Yeah.
and that is something I see with both Pakistan and Australia. Both of them have a number three and a number four that play similar cricket, right? I mean, so Australia needs to separate Smith and Labuschagne. Uh,
Yes.
Pakistan needs to separate Babar and Rizwan.
Yeah.
Uh, if they don't do that, then they are playing that 92-96 wala cricket,
Yeah.
and
And
I don't think
both
they can
teams.
win a World Cup with doing that.
Yeah, no, both teams may not make the semi-finals because of being so
Exactly.
rigid. So both are playing very conservative cricket. Both are excellent cricketers where they understand a certain brand of cricket and will win
Mm.
matches, right? But possibly because of the nature of the entire team. I mean, they're two very different teams. Uh, I think we'll come to Australia later because I think this will get totally muddled. If we get into Australia, we'll lose
Yeah,
sight of this match. And just to stay
yeah.
with it, but staying with, so where do you think? Do you think that either Rizwan or Babar should open? Uh,
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah.
especially when Imam has been struggling for form for a long time,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think, one of them should open basically, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and yeah, I don't know, maybe, or at least give one of them the license. So that's the other thing that we don't understand. So, uh, the thing that and all of us have been noticing about Rohit Sharma, right? We have known Rohit Sharma as a slow starter, right? Even when he scored
Yeah.
those double hundreds, I remember
Yeah.
one of his comments was, I don't remember who the coach was at that point, but he said, I think it was Duncan Fletcher, I don't remember.
Mm.
But he said,
Mm.
that somebody in the dressing room told me that if I had started attacking a bit earlier, I would have gotten more runs when he scored that 260, basically.
Okay.
So Rohit
Yeah.
was known to delay the charge, right? I mean, Rohit
Mm.
was known to play the first 50 balls.
Yeah.
Rohit was never a power play aggressor. Neither was Shikhar Dhawan. That was our one complaint with both of them, basically, right? If anything, Shikhar Dhawan used to get more boundaries early, right? But Rohit
Yeah.
Sharma, because he has the capability and because he knows this is how the game is played these days, over a period of time, he built that game, right? Where he started going after the bowling early, right? One of Rizwan or Babar, in the interest of the team, should just come out and say, okay, I will be the aggressor. Maybe Rizwan, he should just say that, okay, I will try to go after the spinners maybe a little early rather than just waiting to lay that platform. And if he's not willing to do that again, that is the other thing because anytime this is one of my guilty pleasures. Anytime Pakistan loses, I sneak into the Pakistan YouTube, and
Mm.
these two are the whipping boys of a lot of you know
Mm.
uh, very aggressive Pakistan YouTubers, and one of the things they get accused of is that they play for their own runs, and uh,
Yeah.
there is definitely some merit to that argument, right? Because even in a losing game, if you see both of them got a 50, and many times this happens basically, right?
Yeah.
And that was like two of the most useless 50s you would ever see, I think. But yeah, you're just stuck basically. You're just playing into the opposition's hand.
So I think the just going into what India did, fast
Mm.
forwarding, that was there something after 20, 30 overs that the ball started behaving differently, which in hindsight, maybe India saw and said that are the conditions changing, when the ball is getting softer or what? Because it can't happen twice, right? And it seemed to uh,
I
that
think
say,
no, go ahead.
yeah, that
Finish that.
almost simultaneously around the same time, Rohit got out, Babar got out. Now I need to check what the overs were that both of them got out, but it might have been close to around the same time. And suddenly things slowed down. Of course, with Pakistan, the wickets started falling, but India stonewalled. India didn't look to smash it. Rahul came and, yeah, he just ensured that there are no more hiccups. But with
Yeah.
Pakistan, strange things started happening. I mean, it wasn't as if the ball was doing so much, because after a while, yes, the ball was keeping low. I mean, it wasn't as if we had to even wait for 2025. There was the freak delivery, which was, I mean, low means what, yeah? It's the subcontinent by now. Why are we always surprised? The entire thing with a lot of the Gora commentators is it's alarmist. That, array, the ball's keeping low. Array, yaar, you are here in the subcontinent, it will, right? I
I
mean,
know.
these
I know.
things will happen. Suddenly, from, I guess, knowing that it's Ahmedabad, we are thinking pre-match in the show 3:30, 3:20, which Pakistan can get. To you're thinking 280, 290, to even on Star Sports, where they're saying even 250, 260, that all these scores are always reimagined. I mean, because a team does so badly. I mean, when you're bowled out for 190, that everything has to be recalibrated. It still could have been a 320, 330 pitch. I mean, they just
Mhm.
batted poorly, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, so yeah, I think one of the things that since you're talking about the commentary, right? One of the things that I heard on Hindi commentary. So, आजकल Ravi Shastri sits on Hindi commentary sometimes,
Okay.
and he's been fairly outspoken. In one of the games, he said that I remember in the England game when Joe Root was playing all those shots, he said, this is something that I have been asking the Indian players to do more of, that evolve your game, because Joe Root is playing all those reverse sweeps against fast bowlers and all, right? So uh, today what he said was, and that is something that I took notice of, कि Shaheen is no Wasim Akram. Okay, like you are giving him too much respect. So इतना इज्जत देने की जरूरत नहीं है. Which is a very fair point actually. He is a one trick pony sort of. If you can just see away his incoming delivery with the new ball, I don't think he's a threat with the old ball. He is not express. He's not Haris Rao pace. So yeah, I mean you can, and yeah, I mean his lengths are predictable. His lines are predictable. He's the kind of bowler you can pretty much line up. He doesn't have too many variations with the old ball. And yeah, we just had a mental block against him. I think Shubman Gill broke something in during Asia Cup, and आज भी, like when Rohit Sharma started, like first ball, if K. Rahul say was playing, I think he would have still tried to defend that first ball, right? But the kind of
He
and
he
which is
might have
which is
he might have padded it away.
or he could have found out a way to somehow ricochet it back into the stumps actually,
Yeah,
because we have seen
but
some very unlucky dismissions
but
with
yeah,
K.
but
Rahul as well.
is Shaheen injured? That's the thing. Is he, because he's so bandaged, right? He's so wrapped
I
up,
know.
and so even, I mean, the fact that, yes, Shaheen was getting swing just about everywhere when he faced India,
Mm,
and suddenly his, I mean, from the ball which used to come into and cannon into off and middle, it's literally outside leg, yeah. I mean,
mm,
when Rohit is like carting him over mid wicket, he's taking him off the pads, yeah. I mean, Shaheen is not half the bowler that they faced. I mean, what I have seen even in the Asia Cup is that, yes, Rohit is taking his time earlier on. If he is trying to bowl very full, he's digging them out. So
mm.
Rohit is very alert to the fact that, yes, Shaheen is still maybe bowling those balls, but they, I think, are practicing to those deliveries. Maybe there's a lot of Yorker lengths that they're facing, their throwdowns which are happening from a lot closer. Because Shaheen still bowls, but he's definitely one. I think he's not 100%. He's not even like Shubman Gill, 99%. Pata nahi, he may be a lot less. And after losing Naseem Shah, they are shitting bricks. You can't afford to lose. I mean, Shaheen still has that aura, whatever, and they realize that that aura has worked against India. So, yes, I don't know how far he'll go into the tournament. That's the entire thing because Shaheen does a lot of antics while he's in the field. That is always the danger. I mean, he's almost like, today I saw Kuldeep Yadav fielding and he's just always late on the ball, but he's always at the boundary. There was one offside boundary which went, he slides it. So, the danger about someone like Ashwin and Bumrah will be a lot smarter. Let the fucking boundary go, man. You don't have to feign this enthusiasm for the frigging cameras, man. Gaya to gaya, And Kuldeep, I think, has to be told that don't slide, because these are all very important cogs in the wheel, I mean, Kuldeep cannot afford to get injured. And he's, doing all this drama. And I think even with Pakistan, they don't know where, when they have an easier game where Shaheen can get his mojo still, maybe gets a few wickets, easy wickets or whatever, because he's very low on confidence. He's bowling again. He's bowling he's bowling a lot of ordinary balls first up, and then Rohit is punishing, right? So which makes it even worse.
No, one more point that I heard on Pakistan YouTube was these guys are good for 4 overs only. And again, which I think there is some merit to it. They haven't bowled or one of them hasn't bowled a top class 10-over spell against a good side. See, the hallmark of a good 10-over spell is, like you said, right? Bumrah, he was just, and we see it so many times. He's just happy to, close out his first spell without giving too many when he knows that he can come back for a second spell and pick up those wickets, right? So it's very, even Haris Rao, right? Again, he hits the pitch hard, but again, I think if you don't give him those Australian pitches, right, where the ball can rise from a good length, I think he also doesn't seem to have too many tricks. And the kind of bounce that Indian pitches offer, I think Rohit was just lining him up. I think he was like against Haris Rao, right? It was disdain. I against one of the most, so-called feared fast bowler of the world. And, few months back, we were talking about Haris would be such a big threat, in the World Cup. So there is a definite lack of those 10-over specialists in Pakistan. And I think because they play so much T20 cricket, all around the world, I think some of their thinking has also, or the kind of lines they attack, right, has also become very, very T20 centric.
So I wanted, suddenly it came to me, how much do you think Ahmedabad and playing in Ahmedabad would have scrambled their minds? Because, I mean, one of the videos, of course, that's doing the rounds is when Rizwan got dismissed and so I mean, I saw a lot of it, and I saw a lot of comment on it. I saw both sides. The comment that was apologizing for the comment. There was the other which was like, "Yeah, man, stick it up" and all that. And see, it is pretty intimidating. I mean, it is. I mean, that is one part. It is to be, playing in Ahmedabad. And even if they were 90% capacity, how much is it? Are there some numbers which have come out for?
They never release attendance numbers. BCCI
but it's even if it wasn't 100, it would be 90, right?
BCCI. BCCI, if they release those numbers, right? I mean, it could be like the demonetization where they said कि नकली note बंद होंगे, and then circulation जितने note थे वापस उससे ज़्यादा आ गए, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
So it
So
would be like
yeah,
giving your own
yeah.
a
तो
blunder. So
एक लाख तो I mean
हाँ,
ठीक
whatever.
है.
अरे 1 लाख होना
हाँ.
जरूरी नहीं. It's about कि how much noise they are making, right? And 70,000
Yeah.
is still a lot.
Yeah. Enough.
Even if the
Enough. Yeah.
ground was 60% full,
Yeah.
70%, 70,000 is a lot. I think
Yeah.
Ahmedabad as a venue or any venue in India, okay, it would play on their mind. I'm
Yeah.
100%
I
sure.
mean, I
Playing
mean,
India in India
now,
is different.
now jumping right to Hyderabad. Like these guys played 2 games in Hyderabad. But chutti ho rahi thi. There was so much spoken about Hyderabad and all. You would have read on Twitter also about it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's that entire thing, and uh, it's at times I guess there has been a lot of, there's been the Hafiz talk, there's been the Latif talk. I mean, there's been the Shoaib Akhtar talk, which does anyone even take him seriously now?
Mm.
It gets to that point, I guess, with Shoaib where he becomes like a meme almost, right? And that's
Almost.
almost, yeah, almost famous, almost meme,
Yeah,
yeah, and
it's
yeah,
completely meme
yeah,
material. Everything is it.
yeah, yeah. His nostrils as brilliant as ever, though. I mean, I saw one of those videos, and it's so the whole thing is that these guys they come to Ahmedabad, uh, and I think there was an interesting comment. I don't know whether it was Ramiz or Hayden or Vakar, because you can't tell one from the other. I mean, you can't tell Hayden from Vakar at times. I mean, Hayden is as Pakistani as they come in, which is, I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
guess, yeah. I mean,
He worked in
which
that dressing room, so it's
yeah,
understandable.
yeah, it's understandable, and I find it fascinating because he's as CSK as they come. So I must say he has great loyalty. I mean,
Yeah.
and Hayden is not someone I think which anyone who has seen him as an opponent will say you're fond of. You can be intimidated by Hayden. I think that's what anyone who has seen him as an opponent. And I think the strangest thing, of course, with Hayden is the about face that he has done over the last few years. Ever since he got into the IPL fold and got all that bonhomie with Bhaji and all that stuff. But I mean, and he's forced to dance with SMG at the end. I mean, I don't know if you watched that. You might have
I
been,
did not.
yeah. So at the end of the telecast today, I think SMG said that, oh, I have to do something. And he replicated what was his MCG jig after India beat Pakistan. So he does this a little, he gets off the ground and he dances. And Mayanti also did the jig. And then Hayden, like, he's saying, like, I just want to get out of here. He just puts his hands in the air. And you can tell how tough broadcasters are because they put you, I mean, the rigors of कि यार तू ये भी करेगा, वो भी करेगा, नाचेगा भी, and then you have to, I mean, feel completely besotted by an Indian win. I mean, that I think was the entire thing. But I found it interesting that Hayden on Star Sports was pretty outspoken, and you could see he really felt for Pakistan. I don't think even Vakar and Ramesh feel that much because they're smart commentators by now. They
Mm.
Asia Cup ho gaya, ye ho gaya. They've been with, but yeah, I was quite surprised that Hayden was.
Hayden
He
has
was,
been around, right? Hayden
yeah.
commentary panel mein to like he's yeah, honorary Indian.
Hmm.
But he knows how to blend in, right? I mean,
Yeah.
in whichever setup he goes to. But uh, coming back to the point about Ahmedabad, because I noticed Mickey Arthur also said about like it did feel like that
Hmm.
this was a BCCI event and not an ICC event.
Hmm.
And I did not hear Dil Pakistan enough
Yeah. Yeah.
playing
Yeah.
on the microphone.
Yeah.
You
I
are you're
gotta
just
put this.
putting yeah, it seems like an
I.
ad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, so
So yeah, I
but
saw that tweet.
I I
Yes.
I
Yes.
I don't think it's the right thing to say for an international coach at the end of a game. Uh, I don't know what kind of music that is playing at the ground. I
Hmm.
I never you know uh, कितने बॉलीवुड गाने बजते हैं, मतलब आजकल बजते हैं इनफैक्ट, अगर ऑस्ट्रेलिया में मैच हो रहा है, बिकॉज दे वांट टू सेल दोस टिकट्स टू इंडियन क्राउड, बट
Yeah.
ये 99 में जब वर्ल्ड कप हो रहा था, व्हाट वाज, अगर इंडिया इंग्लैंड खेल रही थी, so what was playing, during the break and all, you can't, especially after a loss like this, you can't use that as a, or he said, I don't want to use that as an excuse, but yeah, you're talking about it, it's almost like, I don't want to offend you, but, so
Yeah.
then you
But
are
I'll say it
obviously
anyway.
trying to offend you. Yeah. So, I don't know. It is tough. Again and again, international cricket is tough. Host nations always have an advantage. There is some kind of bullying that goes on, and if there is, uh,
Yeah.
some bad behavior in the crowd, whether it is racism or any kind of comments like that, right? I mean, players do deserve their sanctity, and the things that we said when things were said to some of the Indian players in Australia, right? I mean, it still holds true for whoever comes to India, right? I mean, if there
Yeah.
are nasty comments being passed, and if it is taken notice of, then yeah, something should be done. People should be kicked out of the ground if it gets repeated. But yeah, I mean, some of it will happen. If it happens, it's unfortunate. But the other thing is, when you are in the middle, at least, as batters, I don't think you are hearing anything that the crowd is chanting, unless the whole crowd is chanting something in unison, right? जब इंजमाम खेलता था, I don't think he ever said it in a press conference, right? If you remember, after that Sahara Kapala incident, when Pakistan came to India, the whole crowd, I remember one game, the whole crowd was chanting "Alu Alu" when he when he was batting, and of course it must have affected,
Yeah, but he was
but.
thick-skinned, right?
He was thick-skinned, quite literally. But
Yeah.
uh, uh, yeah, India wanted Ahmedabad as a venue for Pakistan match. I think for commercial purposes as well. I don't think Pakistan is going to get friendly crowds all over India. Especially in the India-Pakistan match, I think it would have been the same if hypothetically India would ever play in Pakistan. I don't think they
Yeah.
would get a very friendly
Yeah.
reception.
Yeah. I was thinking about that while you were talking, that uh, it seems unlikely anytime soon that India will, you know, make it to Pakistan, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
so that's pretty much not there.
Yeah, I
Okay,
was in
so
fact thinking before the game that if Pakistan beats India in a World Cup game, would India be compelled? Because there is no way to take revenge for that. So that would have been a nice, thing for
yeah.
Pakistan to keep. That we came to your home, we defeated
Hmm.
you, and you can't do it. I'm sure India wouldn't have said, okay, now we are coming. See, defeating India in a World Cup match, they kind of got that hoodoo off their back when they defeated India
Yeah.
in the T20 World Cup,
Yeah.
at least.
But
So
that's not a World Cup.
that's a, yeah, WT20 whatever. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but
What
it
I
did
still think
seem
of a
like the
yeah,
sheen has
and
come off
yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah. The whole thing is, yeah, it did. I mean, they started calling it the World Cup. It used to be called the
Yeah,
World T20, but yes, it did. But I think the entire reinforcement of the 50 over World Cup being pretty much the World Cup. Uh,
yeah,
Even though, I mean, Tendulkar was there giving his alternatives about, what you should do with it. This part of that sheen stays for this
yeah.
tournament,
True,
because
true.
they agonize you for the whole day, one way or the other, right? I mean, the pain is immense when you go down in a 50 over match, as opposed to a T20 match, it's done, right? It's like mercy killing almost, when you lose a T20. But in a 50 over, like even though 100 overs were not played today, it it just comes at you repeatedly. And I think the fact that Pakistan had, after being knocked over for less than 200, had to come back uh, and then face two openers who are going at you. So it's a very concerted, I guess,
Mhm.
grief that you continue to feel. I guess
I know, I
for
know.
for fans as well as maybe the team, because and it happens all in the course of a day. So I guess
Yeah,
you can't really move away from it. And should we move to uh, Rohit and Gill and their approach now in the beginning, or is that a
yeah,
given?
why
I
not?
mean, yeah. So I found it okay. Going back to Gill, one of course I found it interesting that he didn't field in the slips because
Yeah,
again in the pre-match show I did think that he would be. I mean, even if he wasn't really in any kind of batting form after the break, just to have him in the slips is a huge thing. And they put him at I think mid off or mid on or something like that. So that was one thing. I think Gill did get a catch. He caught a skyer.
yeah.
Yeah, and he made it look simple, like he makes all things. But Gill also, along with Rohit, was pounding the bowling, and that is
He
what
was.
was.
Yeah,
He continued from the Asia Cup, ki man, I'm coming at you, and that I think is uh, what we again because we did that comparison with Ishan Kishan and Gill, and we were speaking about just confidence and the way Gill has, and it's a very recent phenomenon. It's not as if Shuman Gill was always like this, but something has happened this year that
yeah,
he's like bossing the bowling, and he wants
yeah.
to fuck the bowling, he's like, yeah, Kerry, is this going at them, man? He's
Yeah,
like
वो
become.
नो लुक सिक्सेस वगैरह मारता है वो आईपीएल में, वो
I mean,
देखा है? जैसे स्वैगर वाला उसका बढ़िया है.
yeah, it's just everything. And you've got Rohit on the other side. You've got this two guys who are totally coked out, man. They just seem as if they're going at everything. That's what I find fascinating. They're like, I mean, I am actually very interested in seeing how these guys take on South Africa.
Hmm.
Taller bowlers. You've got guys who will get a lot more. So will they be pulling them? How they will be there? But coming back to yeah, Gail and Rohit and would you like to talk about Rohit's innings?
Uh, yeah, I mean, just more than the runs, right? The approach has been refreshing
Mm,
for a
mm,
while. The hundreds were not coming,
mm,
but
mm,
the refreshing part was that Rohit doesn't necessarily think that he needs to score all those
mm,
hundreds, right?
mm,
To get all those wins, right? So
mm,
so uh, yeah, I that like I said, right? I mean, we've been talking about for a very long time that India's top three plays that same brand of cricket when our top three
yeah,
was
yeah,
Rohit, Dhawan, and Kohli.
yes,
Even though we were winning those games, but none of them were prepared to make those ugly runs if required or go after the bowling early, right? So some days Rohit would have gotten out for 40, in this game, but he would have
yes,
still done his job, right? The the sheer kind of aesthetic value of his stroke play. I mean, that is a well-established fact, and as I said, that makes you, go
the
and create
noises,
those noises.
noise,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I mean, the intent part is why India is looking like a different team, and India is looking like a confident team, and I've always liked this part about Rohit Sharma as a captain, that if there is something that is required for the team, he would not offer somebody else to do it, basically, right? And that is a pattern you've seen in Mumbai Indians as
yeah,
well, right? If
yeah,
somebody is required to bat in the middle overs and play those responsible innings, he would do it and not ask it of anybody else. He would not say कि मेरा तो नंबर 3 है, मैं किसी का नाम लिए बिना यहाँ पे किसी fan group को offend किए बिना. I'm just saying
mm,
he's not saying that my number is fixed, my approach is fixed. Now all of you bat around it, basically, right? And
mm,
which is something maybe Babar does, right?
mm.
So yeah, that is something that yeah, I really like about Rohit's approach. Yeah,
But it's again, I guess, are we talking about the kind of ability that Rohit has always had, right? Uh,
yeah,
which which if you're talking about a guy who hits sixes, coming down the wicket, pulling them, so his six hitting arc is very huge.
yeah,
I mean, which I think in today's innings we saw. I mean, anything short was fucked. I mean, he just didn't. I mean, there wasn't at any point you just didn't even blink and you saw it go. So it was they looked like very ordinary bowlers. Now it wasn't
Yeah,
as if they were because they were. I mean, it is also a ploy to bowl short at Rohit because it does dismiss him, right?
yeah,
But he does score heavily with the pull shot, and the stats are all there. He has realized that this works for him.
yeah. Even in test
But
matches, right? He has gotten out and he's never stopped pulling.
yeah, yeah. But today the sixes now this ground doesn't look small, and
Mm.
I don't think it is either, right? And but those sixes from the moment they made contact with the bat, the ball in the bat, they looked as they were gone. It wasn't as if, is it? They were just going, and that happened throughout. And I think around the time, after when Kohli got out, uh, yes, he did put a bit of a stop on the shots, but he was still playing in the air because that is
I,
his game. Rohit does play in the air and he scores heavily with it, as say Kohli does, you know, keep it off the air. But the entire understanding, I don't know if that is, what we'd spoken about earlier, that was this wicket going to get tougher? And,
yeah.
because I don't think we saw Dew. I mean, there wasn't, I mean, even if there was too much happening for anyone to talk about the Dew. But
Mm.
you could tell that, yes, ball keeping low, okay, fine, man, it's India. Spinners doing a little, but the spinners also were bossed over, right? I mean,
Mm.
see, this was a game which could have been finished 5 overs, 6 overs, 8 overs before. Finally, all the Pakistan bowlers, I think they got some respectability to their analysis, and that sounded like something else, huh? But yeah, but that's what happened, and you finally
Yeah,
won with whatever 117 balls to spare. It looked a lot worse, this defeat, and the entire deal is that I think Rohit maybe figured something. You don't want this game to go anywhere. We're just going to kill it very soon. Yeah. And if
yeah,
you can pull it off, if you have that confidence, because I think right now, the confidence in Gale, in himself, in Kohli is supreme, right? It's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
high. And
yeah.
you say, we're going to come at you, right?
No, I think he may have read something on the pitch. I think I think Indian fast bowlers found a spot on the pitch, sort of around the 28 to 30 over mark
Yeah,
where they were trying to pound that over
yeah,
and over. But I
yeah,
don't think Rohit's approach would have changed, even if he
yeah.
had read the pitch differently. He would have played the same way. Uh, the other thing is, I again, because we see so little of the 50 over cricket, right, these days.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
we have forgotten these almost fixed
I got,
patterns, right?
I got to,
हाँ
I
हाँ
got to,
करो करो
I, yeah,
Hayward's
yeah.
5000 का ad लग रहा है ये.
हाँ हाँ हाँ
No, so
हाँ
what I was saying was कि
अच्छा by the
1996 में
by the way, the bottle
Heineken है.
is
हाँ,
the bottle is green and my t-shirt is green also. हाँ.
very nice,
A lot
very
of
nice.
lot of empathy today.
Or organic. Uh,
Hmm. Totally.
Uh,
So
no,
continue.
so what I was saying was कि the subcontinent template for ODI victories for a very long time is because the ball would not do too much, the new ball would not do too much. If you can score runs, whatever you can score in the early overs is a huge factor, right? So even in the '96 World Cup, right, there were so many games where Sri Lanka went hard in the beginning, and then they knew that spinners will get more assistance, right? So
Yes.
so yeah, 100 over एक दिन में खेलोगे तो there will be some wear and tear in the pitch, like no matter how good the pitch is, there may be some, unless you make those absolute roads, right? And you will find a few of those in this tournament, but unless you want every game. See, the point is the way the teams play. ODI cricket these days, they treat it as two T20s plus one T10 basically, right? Like they can go really big. So if you make pitches that are complete flatbed from over 1 to over 100, you are going to see a lot of 450s, and you are going to see 400 scores getting chased, right? So in fact, I had a wild thought before the match began, and when Pakistan started batting, and believing that the pitch is good and Pakistan can score some runs, I was thinking that they would score around 350 and we would chase that. So that record basically that they got in the last match, right? He chasing the highest total
Yeah.
in 50 over World Cup would last for one match basically. But yeah, I think teams uh, would have to look at having at least one aggressor in that first 10 overs, no matter who the opposition bowler is, whether it's Bumrah or Rabada. You need some way of going after the bowling, because there are runs on offer, irrespective of who. The outfields are so good. If you just find the gap with the new ball, you would get rewards. It's not just about hitting in the air. Even if you play good cricketing shots, there is a chance. At least if you're playing on the up, taking some risk, there is a chance to score big runs, right? I think yeah, थोड़ा सा इंग्लैंड के अप्रोच ने भी it has taught everybody in the world. I mean, they have been the most successful white ball team, and the way they have played over the years, Jason Roy and Bairstow, the way these guys play. Of course, there will be other teams that would take notice and try to play that similar brand. So yeah, I mean, we should also invent some baseball जैसा term, call it balle baseball or something.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
should we wrap here on this
yeah. We can
b-
we
bal-
can
on this ballebaz
ballebas.
on this ballebaz tone
Yeah,
note?
so
Yeah.
there's one topic that even when we started, I wanted to ask you, because
Yeah.
we are talking after a long time, and especially we are
Yeah.
talking after a long time about 50 over cricket,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And some people are saying that this might be the last 50 over World Cup. How many more 50 over World Cup would be played according to you? You
I
think
think
we can do
many,
another?
many, many. They'll keep
Really?
it. Yeah. They'll keep it.
Only the
And
only the 50 over World Cup,
they'll keep everything. They're hungry and
the
they're greedy.
bilaterals
They're
as well.
greedy. They're greedy. They'll keep it. See, I think the fact that it's criticized and that doesn't bother them, because it works somehow. I mean, I think by the end of this World Cup, they will see that it has been a success in monetary terms. That's all that really matters. I don't think they're looking at is there hype or this and that, and how badly managed the tickets were, or whether the stadiums were full. That I think means sweet fuck all to anyone. The fact that it finally sold, that they got the ad revenues in everything, it's ticking whatever those boxes are. So, as a business model, it works for them and they will keep it. I think whatever the sympathizers of a game that is, or a format that is boring the hell out of everyone, doesn't matter, because everyone is, I mean, I think on Twitter we see so many people who've gone to Ahmedabad for this, right?
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, they're going, and I mean, of course, that doesn't represent what the game is, but we know there's enough for it. And the bilaterals will continue, because the bilaterals are the weird ones, which are always full also. And there is prime time at some point, where the game goes crazy. I think the real challenge for the white ball game and Indian cricket, which I think is connected to world cricket, is that after Rohit and Kohli, who is okay, the Gill thing is there, but they need 2, 3 guys. So that'll happen, right? Because
Yeah.
India is, or has been for the longest time, a batsman obsessed
Yeah.
nation, right?
I have
So I
I have a
think,
lot of I have a lot of disdain for that question, honestly. That after Tendulkar, who, after Kohli, who? I mean, I yeah. I mean,
but
I think we
but
do a lot of
that's how
disservice to all the kids playing,
yeah, but that's how the
Salwa
board
today.
works. The board works like that because the star creation is imperative to the entire whatever it
Yeah,
is.
but the I mean, so Shah Rukh Khan says I'm the last superstar, right? He says like he goes out and says it, and it's
Mm.
possible. I mean, I have this
Yeah.
theory that all those uh, uh, like we were the last generation who were creating these superstars, and now kids are smarter. So unless a father tells that okay, ये सलमान खान की picture है, ये मेरा भगवान है, मुझे इसकी picture देखनी है, तो you come with me. They are not so crazy about pursuing a star, at least relatively. और ये मेरी सिर्फ बॉलीवुड की थ्योरी है. So it may happen that the country becomes less star obsessed and more team obsessed. Say for example CSK or Gujarat or all of these franchises, they become bigger. Theoretically, I'm just saying that they will find a different paradigm to sell the game. I'm just saying
Okay.
either
So
that or a new superstar will also come. I mean,
so
I don't rule that out.
when you started talking about SRK and the superstar, I was just thinking about Rajesh Khanna because of
Hmm.
him being one of the first superstars uh, that happened in the 70s and the so yesterday there's this place called Pandara Road in Delhi which has got a
I
lot
know,
of
I know.
Mughalai restaurants. So yesterday
Hmm.
I taken my brother there to this because he's in from the US. He keeps doing kulfi hopping यार जहाँ जाओ कुल्फी खानी है. So मैंने उसको कल बोला okay, so we'll go to Pandara Road after lunch. So we went to, I think it's a place called Krishna's or something, and it's been there from the 50s.
Oh,
So while he was getting a kulfi, I was looking at these photographs, and you had Rajesh Khanna eating there, you had Shatrughan
I know.
Sinha eating there, and the entire star pool. I think India is starstruck, and that is the entire thing which makes that is one facet of the cricket. I think which has always interested me, and at the same time, it's something that I haven't liked because it does a disservice to a lot of cricketers also.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we have talked about that, I think, a few
Yeah,
times. That
that
right? I
yeah
mean,
yeah
we need to get all of that star
yeah
culture
yeah
if we can
yeah
give
yeah. So that'll be
yeah chances to the best
another
ones. Yeah,
conversation. But
I know.
I think we'll catch up again after India Bangladesh, before India Bangladesh, because I
Sure,
really
sure.
think that is the match, man. I
I
mean,
know. I know.
वहाँ अगर Bangladesh beats India, I mean
Uh,
that will really get this World Cup going. I mean, that
I
for
know.
me
I know.
is it.
East Pakistan is the real Pakistan,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah,
And they
yeah,
have
yeah,
defeated India, by the way, right?
yeah,
In World
yeah.
Cup. Yeah,
They tend to beat us every now and then. So that's
yeah,
what's interesting. Yeah.
yeah. Asia Cup maybe they have beaten us. So yeah,
Yeah. So that's
and I won't be surprised if they beat us, and I won't be too upset if they beat us.
we need something to happen. Yeah. This World
Yeah,
Cup is just there's nothing happening which seems like
yeah,
a surprise, right?
yeah. It's so far it's like that 2007 vibes when nobody challenged
Yeah,
Australia,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
ऐसा ही चला either South Africa or New Zealand or Bangladesh. I think these three
yeah,
teams. England because I don't know, but on a flat pitch again, England can hurt India. Uh, uh,
yeah,
so yeah, let's hope there is one game where uh, India is challenged. Yeah,
yeah. So till Bangladesh, right?
yeah. Sure, we are the same green
Okay.
shirt again.
Yeah, yeah, man.
See
Okay.
ya.
See you, man.
Good
Bye,
night.
Rajesh.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
night. Bye.